Well, I'm delighted today to be here at Concourse at Hampton Court Palace with Michael Maxwell, founder of Aquila Funds from Lisbon. Welcome, Michael.
Yeah, David, thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here as well at one of these great British summer events, and thank you so much for attending as well.
Great. So tell us a little bit about your exhibition and presence here at the show.
Sure. So we've come through to the show because we run, or the initiators of, an investment platform in Portugal. It's my own business, Portugal Panorama, in partnership with Aquila. One of the funds is called Wheels. And Wheels is a fund that invests into classic cars. So what better place to be than at the classic car event of the summer here in Hampton Court.
Fantastic. So this fund is a way for people to access Portuguese citizenship and residency. Tell us more about the funds and the options you offer to people. Why are they interested in them?
Yeah, so we offer a number of different funds, from a co-investment fund to, this fund, which has become very much a flagship. I suppose it's quite an iconic type of investment. We went for classic cars because we wanted something that was tangible, number one. Number two, very liquid, and you'll sell a classic car easier than an apartment. Number three, with strong data. And not many people are aware that classic cars are actually the top performing alternative asset of the last 10 years. They've outperformed wine, whiskey, watches, even gold. In the last 10 years, gold's done around 134%, cars have done around 185. And something I liked is that it's international. The Portuguese economy could go through a crisis. It's not going to impact on the performance of this fund, in that you're dealing with an international asset. And you put those four things together, when you're targeting investors that are looking at de-risking and diversifying.
Non-correlated investment, isn't it?
Correct.
Away from other asset classes and the movement of which.
Correct. It makes a lot of sense. At a time of crisis or a time of plenty, this is something that works quite well. And the growing trend now, of course, is that these sorts of investments, particularly in Portugal, give access to things like the Portuguese Golden Visa program, which continues to be the benchmark out of the European options due to its flexibility and optionality of being a Plan A option. You can live, work, study in Portugal from day one, having made a €500,000 investment into something like Wheels, this classic car fund. Or if you want it to be a Plan B, you only have to do 7 days a year there for 5 years in order to then make the step up to request Portuguese citizenship.
Because there has been some changes in the Portuguese regime which have made the headlines, but it's not all doom and gloom. There's still lots of options, aren't there? So what are people seeing, and what's the reality now?
Yeah, so real estate is off the table, okay? Direct real estate investment, or even funds that are developing and investing into real estate directly or indirectly, no longer qualify, okay? So that's not a bad thing, really. I suppose the Portuguese property market, even without the Golden Visa program, is performing very well. You didn't need something else to keep it moving. But your private equity fund options in Portugal are extensive, and there are some really good options there. As I said, we run a fund that's going into co-investment. There's a fund that's going into classic cars as well. We're looking at a few others. The benefit for investors is that these funds come regulated, with licensed and regulated fund managers that have full-on fiduciary responsibility for what happens in the fund, which should give international investors that little bit of peace of mind as well.
And what does that mean for the management of the fund then? Does it mean they can't only own like one asset within the fund, and all sort of normal rules that would apply to a financial market asset?
So for example, Wheels has an independent licensed and regulated fund manager. As I said, they have fiduciary responsibility and full decision-making ability. So ourselves, as the founding unit holder of the fund and the advisors to the fund, we can suggest investments and suggest actions, but we can't say yes or no to them, okay? And for example, the buying process of a car is we'd identify the car. We then use an independent company in Belgium to evaluate the car. When that looks good, we present it to the fund manager's investment committee. We use an independent evaluator from Portugal. And only when both evaluations come out positively does money exchange hands and the car is acquired. So there's a lot of governance. There's a good sort of triple check system in place, which everyone likes to see and is of course very important.
And it's amazing for investors to be able to own an underlying asset which they actually care about through the fund, isn't it? You know,
Correct.
Financial investment is not something that gets people out of bed in the morning necessarily, is it? But do you see those coming into the fund really passionate about this asset class, and they're getting not only the sound financial return, but
Exactly, and it's part of the reason why we're here today, in that there's this sort of captive audience who are looking at this sort of thing but are passionate about cars. They believe in the asset, And there is, to me, a good link between the legacy of a classic car, a good classic, and the legacy that a Golden Visa investment creates for a family. And that the investment people are making today into this sort of fund, it impacts the lives of their unborn great-grandchildren in a positive way, because of course the passport and nationality is transferable. So if you look at high net worth families that look at diversifying, the growing trend is that there's a diversification into nationality and residence as well. So the two things go hand in hand.
Because zooming out, in the world of citizenship and mobility in the UK, there's lots of non-doms looking at changing their residency status. There's other regimes coming into play. How do you see the broader market across Europe and elsewhere?
So in terms of investors coming into the fund, the growing markets are without doubt the UK and the US. If you look at the heat maps on Google Analytics on where inquiries are coming from, very strong push here. Historically, places like South Africa, Brazil, Turkey, but increasingly the UK, US. The UK, post-Brexit, a lot of people want to keep their European position. There have been changes to res non-dom laws. There's possible changes to inheritance laws and quite a tough budget coming in. So high net worths, with an eye to the future are doing this sort of planning, which is obviously a benefit to places like Portugal, who of course standing there open arms saying, please come this way. But Spain has a similar program. Greece has a similar program. Possibly not as interesting as Portugal's, in that you've got to commit 183 days a year there. Portugal's at 7-day-a-year flexibility. A program that is coming in that I'm quite excited about, and we will soon be launching an option there, is Italy. Italy is a quick process, and Italy's Italy. It's a wonderful brand. People like the place, and they're coupling the residency option with good tax programs as well.
And what's next for the fund? Are you looking to grow the investor base? Where are you on the journey?
Yeah, definitely. So capital raising started in about March this year. It's moving along at quite a fair click. We're very happy with the progress. Strong mix of Brazilians, Turks, Brits and Americans coming in so far. We feel we've designed some things that are unique. We are seeing investors diversifying amongst more than one fund, which is a growing trend. You're not obliged to put the full 500,000 euro investment into one fund. You can put it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 funds. It's really not a problem. I do see Italy becoming a trend. Italy is going to do well. I believe that. I think it's that brand that people enjoy. Who wouldn't like to have a foothold in Italy if they can?
Fantastic. And you've been at the show yesterday. You're here tomorrow. Walking around, has there been any cars that have stood out to you? Is there anything particularly you've seen during the show that you thought, wow?
Too many. Aston Martins, you just look at them for ages, and the longer you look at them, the better they look. There've been some incredible Alphas I've seen, very unique Maserati as well. So yeah, too much choice. There's a real feast on the eye. Even for people that aren't into cars, classic cars, they're a work of art. The way they look, that I think anyone can appreciate.
Fantastic. Well, great to talk to you today. Look forward to sharing this interview.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.